Hello, this is Thomas Donald Jacobs for Paper Boys on Thursdays, and today's topic is work and school, which is for me the same place. I go to school where I work, and that's why this vlog is late because we've been busy here. The last week, my university was deliberating about what is the best way for us to help slow the spread of the pandemic. We have to flatten the curve because this is not the flu, and people need to stop talking about it like it is. It's not. Um, it's highly, highly contagious, um, and the mortality rate is high. Um, the last figures that I saw were worst case scenarios of infection rates of 70% eventually, and a mortality rate, last I checked figures from the World Health Organization, of around 4%. That's a lot of people. Worst case scenario, that is a lot of people. Um, and for the anyone who's watching this who is thinking to themselves, oh, well, it's just the old and people who are already sick, fuck you, basically. If you have that thought, keep that shit to yourself. Don't share it with nobody. Because everybody around you, the people who are vulnerable or people who have close family, close friends, or just, you know, a sense of being a fucking human being, we can hear that. So check yourself. But moving on from that, what we decided to do, and it's the right thing to do, because studies have shown that it is extremely effective, they had to close the school. Um, Itty bitty kids and even older kids, young adults, you put them all in one space, shoulder to shoulder. They're going to touch everything. They're going to touch each other. They're going to touch their faces. Everybody's going to get it, and then they're going to give it to you. That is how that works. Really small children, it's not intentional. They just ain't thinking. They don't understand. And, teenagers, they think they're going to live forever. That is not at the forefront of their concerns at all. There's no. The consequences of their actions are not something that they always consider. So we have to shut it down. And so my university is switching everything over to being online. Anything that can go online, that's how it's going to be done. That is our new norm, working long distance. And that's good. I'm glad we're doing it. I did my first class yesterday. It's a very small class, so I could Skype it. Um, and I'm glad that we are offering our students the opportunity to continue on with their education right now. And I think this is important for them, and it is important to me to have some sense of normalcy right now, because people are scared. And so keeping to a schedule and trying to do things as normally as possible under the circumstances can help to relieve anxiety. And so that is good. It is good we are doing this. But, and this is where I have some problems, it's not always being done in the best way or with enough consideration. Basically, we have students who do not come from great backgrounds. And school may be their refuge. It may be their safe place from family circumstances that are, shall we say, not ideal. and then we send them home and we tell them, you still got to do all this and meet these deadlines. I think we just need to be aware that some of them are not going to be able to do that. And also, administrations at different universities, mine included, we are aware for staff, and we express that concern for staff, that staff may have to take care of children right now, and staff may have to take care of their parents right now, or other family members, or especially vulnerable people in their community. We need to be aware too that there are students who will have to do that as well. And some of them are going to be really especially vulnerable students, transgender students, for example. I know that there are a lot of transgender students out there who are not looking forward to the prospect of having to go home. I know in my own family, it would not fill me with joy to have to go home right now, especially if it's under circumstances where I can't get away, um, such as a quarantine. Um, we're not functional even under the best of circumstances. And you put us all in one space, and that does not help our family dynamic, shall I say. Um, and I know that for myself, and I am a grown ass human being. In theory, at least, I have coping skills that a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old, 19, 20, they ain't got. So I think we need to be a little bit aware of that when we start making demands of students and having expectations right now. Moreover, not all students come from affluent backgrounds. Um, they may not have the internet access that you have. Uh, if we have students that are having to use their cell phone minutes, which they have to pay for, in order to follow classes online and hand in assignments and do this and that, maybe we need to stop and be aware that they might need those minutes for other things. There might be other priorities right now. Or they might need to share their tech with other family members who are also having to be at home right now, such as parents who still have to work in order to put food on the table. If push comes to shove about who gets the broadband, well, who do you think should have it? I think that it's just really important that we remember that before we start setting up assignments and making too many demands. Something that people need to have in the back of their heads. Also, if you are at an institution where they are still demanding sick notes from doctors in order to get an extension on an assignment, even under the best of times, that is some ableist bourgeois bullshit right there. Not everyone has access to a doctor, okay? If you live in rural America, there might not be a doctor. That's a thing that happens. Or if you have to pay $150 out of pocket to go see that doctor, are you shitting me? You gonna make that demand of a student right now, especially right now when we are telling people, in fact, unless you absolutely have to, don't go see your doctor? If you're sick and your symptoms are mild, take care of it as best you can on your own. And then they can't work because they're ill and there's other things going on, and then you're going to put your hand out for a sick note. Man, you need to stop and think. Um, that is no good. Okay? If your administration is telling you as an educator that you cannot grant extensions to students right now unless they have sick notes, and otherwise they have to hand in all of the assignments that you are setting up for them online, uh, maybe you should exercise your discretion as best you can and not do that. So yeah, that was my thoughts about all of this, and hopefully I will see you next week. Wash your hands. Bye.